My name is Elara Vance, and I am 32 years old. I just realized I was never really a daughter in my family. The day I received the call from my mother, just 3 weeks before my wedding, telling me that my parents could not attend because it fell on my sister's birthday, I was standing in a bridal fitting room with a white veil in my hands. 32 years of being the older daughter. 8 years of sending $2,500 every single month. And one 47-second phone call to shatter every illusion I had ever held. I did not cry. I did not beg. I just set the phone down and did something I should have done years ago. Before I tell you what happened next, please take a moment to like and subscribe, but only if you genuinely want to hear the rest. Where are you watching from and what time is it there? Drop a comment and let me know. To understand why a 47-second phone call changed everything, I need to take you back to the years when I was called the family cash machine. I grew up in the suburbs of a rainy city in the Pacific Northwest, a 3-bedroom house with a backyard that my mother loved to show off to the neighbors. My sister, Serena, got the bedroom with the window overlooking the garden. I got the small room next to the garage, where I could hear the water heater groaning every single night. From as far back as I can remember, my mother had a particular way of introducing us. "This is Serena, my daughter," she would say, her hand resting proudly on my sister's shoulder. Then, almost as an afterthought, "And this is Elara, Serena's older sister." Not her daughter, Serena's sister. As if my entire existence was defined by my relationship to the golden child. By the time I was 14, I was working part-time at a local bakery to pay for my own school supplies. Serena never had to lift a finger. My mother bought her new clothes every season, the latest phone, whatever she wanted. I wore hand-me-downs from cousins and learned to stretch $1 until it screamed. When I turned 16, I saved up for 6 months to buy a used Toyota Corolla. 2005, dented bumper, air conditioning that worked when it felt like it. I was so proud of that car. It represented every early morning shift. Every birthday, I spent frosting cupcakes for strangers instead of celebrating with friends. 2 years later, when Serena graduated high school, my parents surprised her with a brand new Mazda 3. Cherry red, leather seats, the whole package. "She deserves it," my mother said when she caught me staring. She worked so hard in school. Serena had a 2.8 grade point average. I graduated with a 3.7 while working 20 hours a week. I did not hate Serena. I just hated that love in my family seemed to come with a price tag, and I was always the one paying. The real bleeding started when I was 24. I had just graduated from community college with a degree in restaurant management. Nothing fancy, but I had earned it while working full-time as a line cook. I landed a job as a prep cook at a downtown hotel, and for the first time in my life, I had a steady paycheck and a glimpse of what independence might feel like. Then my mother called. "Elara, it is an emergency." Her voice was tight, the way it always got when she wanted something. "Your father lost his job. We cannot make the mortgage this month. We need $3,000. $3,000. I did not have $3,000, but I had a credit card with a $5,000 limit that I had been carefully protecting for emergencies. This was an emergency, right? My parents might lose their house. I maxed out my credit card and wired the money that same day. "Thank you, sweetheart," my mother said when she confirmed the transfer. "We knew we could count on you." For the next 3 months, I ate ramen for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I picked up extra shifts until my feet ached and my hands cracked from washing dishes. I paid down that credit card balance penny by penny. Meanwhile, my parents posted photos on Facebook of their weekend dinners at a seafood chain. Serena uploaded selfies from a spa day. Mommy-daughter bonding. I told myself it was a one-time thing. They were in a tough spot. Family helps family. But that was the test, was it not? And I passed it too well. So, they never stopped giving me new ones. What I did not know then was that this first emergency was just the opening act of an 8-year performance, and I was the only one paying for tickets. For years later, I met Julian Cross at a company Christmas party. I was 28 by then, working as a sous chef at a boutique restaurant downtown. I had clawed my way up from prep cook, learned to make sauces that could make grown men weep, and still I was sending money home every single month. The amount had stabilized at $2,500, like clockwork, like a bill I could not cancel. Julian was a software engineer. Quiet, thoughtful, the kind of man who actually listened when you talked. He was not flashy. He drove a sensible sedan and wore the same navy blazer to every event. But when he looked at me, he saw me. Not what I could give him. Just me. 3 months into dating, he noticed something. "Elara, why do you transfer so much money to your parents every month?" He was helping me set up a budget spreadsheet. His love language was apparently Excel formulas. "This is more than most people pay in rent." I froze. No one had ever asked me that before. "Because if I do not, I am a bad daughter," I said. The words came out before I could stop them. Julian set down his coffee cup. He looked at me with those steady brown eyes. No judgment, just concern. "What if we tracked it?" he said slowly. "Every dollar you have sent them since you started working. Just so you know exactly where you stand." That night, we built a spreadsheet together. Dates, amounts, reasons listed in the notes column. Emergency car repair. Serena's textbooks. Medical bills. Mortgage help again. The numbers climbed higher than I expected. Much higher. "You are not a bad daughter, Elara," Julian said softly, his hand covering mine. "Love is not supposed to be a loan you can never pay off." That spreadsheet would become the most important document of my life. I had wanted to own a bakery since I was 16. It started with my grandmother, my mother's mother, though you would not know it from how differently they treated me. Grandma Rose lived in a tiny cottage with a kitchen that smelled like cinnamon and butter. She taught me to make her famous cinnamon rolls from scratch, kneading the dough until my arms burned, watching the glaze drip just right. "You have a gift, Elara," she would say, flour dusting her silver hair. These hands were made to create something sweet in a world that is often bitter. She died when I was 19. Left me nothing but her recipes and a locket I still wear every day. But the dream stayed. By 29, I had started taking custom cake orders on weekends. Wedding cakes, birthday cakes, elaborate creations that took hours to decorate. I squirreled away every dollar I could, dreaming of a small storefront with my name on the door. When I finally told my mother about my plans, she laughed. "A bakery? Elara? Be realistic. Do you know how many small businesses fail in the first year?" She shook her head like I had suggested opening a casino on the moon. "You have a stable job. Why would you throw that away?" Serena chimed in from the couch, not even looking up from her phone. "Are you seriously going to sell cupcakes for a living? That is so quaint." My father said nothing. He never said anything. That Christmas, they gifted Serena a set of premium golf clubs. For networking, my mother explained. I got a gift card to a department store. The message was clear. My dreams were not worth investing in. I was only valuable for what I could give them. But I kept saving anyway. Some dreams are too precious to let other people kill. The first time I met Julian's parents, Walter and Miriam Cross, I did not know families could be like that. Julian drove me to their house on a Sunday afternoon, a modest colonial in a quiet suburb with rose bushes lining the walkway. Nothing extravagant, but warm. Lived in. Miriam opened the door before we even knocked. "You must be Elara." She pulled me into a hug like we had known each other for years. "Julian has told us so much about you. Come in, come in." I just took the pot roast out of the oven. The dining table was set with actual cloth napkins. Candles flickered in the center. Walter stood to shake my hand, his grip firm but gentle. "So, Elara," he said, passing me the bread basket. "Julian tells me you are a talented chef. What is your specialty?" No one had ever asked me that. My own parents had never once asked about my work, my passions, what made me come alive. "Pastry, I managed. I want to open a bakery someday." Miriam's face lit up. "Oh, that is wonderful." "Walter, is not that wonderful?" "It is," Walter agreed. "You know, I work in commercial real estate. When you are ready to look at spaces, let me know. I might be able to help with the lease negotiations." I stared at him. This man I had just met, offering to help me achieve a dream my own parents had mocked. On the drive home, I cried. "What is wrong?" Julian asked, alarmed. "Nothing is wrong," I whispered. I did not know it could feel like this. Feel like what? like being wanted without having to pay for it. That night, I understood for the first time what I had been missing, and what I refused to let my future children miss. Then Serena got engaged, and everything escalated. She met Bryce at a rooftop bar downtown, a stockbroker with slicked back hair and a watch he mentioned in every conversation. Within 6 months, they were engaged. Within 7, my mother was on the phone demanding my contribution to the wedding fund. $15,000, Elara. That is your share. I nearly dropped the phone. My share? Mom, I am trying to save for my own future. Your future. She laughed, that sharp sound I knew too well. Serena is getting married now. This is her special day. You can save money next year. I have been saving for years. I am trying to open a bakery. Yes, I know. You can open a bakery anytime. Your sister only gets married once. I wanted to say no. Every fiber of my being screamed to say no. But then my mother started crying. Not the gentle tears of genuine emotion. The loud, gasping sobs she deployed like weapons. How can you be so selfish? Do you want me to die of embarrassment in front of Bryce's family? They are wealthy, Elara. We have to make a good impression. In the end, I sent $10,000. It wiped out my entire bakery fund. Serena's wedding was at an exclusive athletic club. Designer gown, ice sculpture, live jazz band. I stood in the wedding party wearing a pink bridesmaid dress my mother had picked out specifically because it would not draw attention away from the bride. No one thanked me for my contribution. Not once. At the reception, I overheard my mother telling Bryce's parents, "We are so proud of both our girls, but Serena has always been the special one." I smiled and kept pouring champagne. 2 years later, when it was my turn to walk down the aisle, I would learn exactly how special I was to them. Julian proposed on a rainy evening in April, in the garden where my grandmother used to grow herbs. The cottage had been sold years ago, but the new owners had kept the garden. Rosemary, lavender, thyme still growing wild in the beds Grandma Rose had tended. Julian had somehow gotten their permission to bring me there. He knelt in the damp earth with a ring box in his hand. The ring was not a diamond. It was a sapphire, the stone from my grandmother's locket, which Julian had secretly taken to a jeweler months earlier. He had had it reset into something new, something that carried my history into our future. I said yes before he finished asking. That night, floating on happiness, I called my mother to share the news. Engaged. My mother's voice was flat. To the computer guy? What does his family do? He is a software engineer, Mom. And his parents are wonderful people. But are they established? What kind of wedding can they afford? I felt my joy deflating like a punctured balloon. I did not call to discuss finances. I called to tell you I am getting married. A long pause. Then, well, at least he has a stable job. I suppose that is something. No congratulations. No tears of happiness. No, I am so happy for you, sweetheart. Later that night, Serena texted me. You are getting married before our 2nd anniversary? Kind of tacky, to be honest. Julian found me in the kitchen staring at my phone. They did not take it well, did they? He asked quietly. They did not take it at all. They just inventoried it, like I was announcing a business merger instead of the happiest day of my life. He pulled me close. Then we will celebrate with people who actually care. My parents are already planning a dinner. I should have known then. The signs were all there, written in neon. But hope is a stubborn thing. And I still believed that when my wedding day came, my parents would show up. 6 months before the wedding, I signed the lease on a tiny storefront on a bustling street in southeast Portland. Dawn's Sweet Bakery. The name came to me in a dream. My grandmother standing in morning light, pulling cinnamon rolls from the oven, the kitchen glowing gold. Walter Cross had found the space during one of his property searches. The rent is manageable, he said, sliding the paperwork across his dining room table. And the previous tenant left the ovens. You just need to bring in your own equipment. Miriam brought me a vintage cake stand from an estate sale. For good luck, she said, pressing it into my hands. I was still sending my parents $2,500 every month, even as I scraped together deposits and first month's rent. I was stretched so thin I could feel myself fraying at the edges. But I refused to stop. Not yet. Family was family, even when family did not feel like family. When I showed my mother photos of the bakery space, she squinted at her phone screen. "It is small," she said. "Are you sure you will get enough customers?" "I have to start somewhere, Mom. I just worry about you wasting money. Serena has been talking about opening a nail salon. Maybe you could help her get started instead." I did not respond. There was nothing to say. A week later, I was at Walter and Miriam's house organizing my business tax documents when Walter paused over a stack of bank statements I had brought. 8 years of transfers. $2,500 month after month, plus the larger emergencies. The total was staggering. Walter did not say a word. He just looked at me with eyes full of something I could not name. Sadness, maybe. Or recognition. "You have done more than your duty, Elara," he said quietly. "I want you to know that." I did not realize until later that Walter had seen everything, and that his witnessing would matter more than I could imagine. 2 months before the wedding, I sent out save-the-date cards. I designed them myself. Simple cream cardstock with pressed lavender from Miriam's garden. June 15th. Please join us for the wedding of Elara Marie Vance and Julian Thomas Cross. I handed my parents their invitation in person, hoping that seeing me might spark something. Some flicker of excitement. Some acknowledgement that their daughter was getting married. My mother glanced at the card and frowned. June 15th. Let me check the calendar. She pulled out her phone, scrolled through dates, and sighed. That is close to Serena's birthday. You know, she turns 28 on the 17th. I know when Serena's birthday is, Mom. The wedding is on the 15th. Still, she set the invitation on the kitchen counter next to a stack of grocery coupons. We might have plans. Serena wandered into the kitchen, grabbed a yogurt from the fridge, and spotted the card. "Oh, your wedding thing. Bryce wants to go to Cabo that weekend. I will try to make it, but no promises." My father sat in the living room the entire time watching a golf tournament. He did not even turn around. On the drive home, I called Julian. "They did not commit," I said, my voice hollow. "They said they might have plans. For my wedding." A long silence. Then Julian said gently, "Elara, maybe it is time to accept that your family is not capable of being what you need them to be." "They will come," I insisted. "When the actual day arrives, they will be there. I know they will." "And if they're not?" I did not answer. I could not imagine it. My own parents choosing not to witness the most important day of my life. It seemed too cruel, too impossible. 6 weeks later, I learned that cruelty was exactly what they were capable of. The call came on a Tuesday afternoon in late May. I was standing in a bridal shop downtown, surrounded by mirrors that showed me from every angle. The dress was ivory silk with delicate beading at the neckline. Simple but elegant. The kind of gown I had dreamed about since I was a little girl watching movies where fathers walked their daughters down the aisle. My phone buzzed. "Mom." "Hi, Mom. I am actually at my final fitting right now. Elara, I need to tell you something." Her voice was matter-of-fact, like she was reading from a grocery list. "Your father and I will not be able to make it to the wedding." The fitting room went silent. The consultant who had been adjusting my hem looked up concerned. "What do you mean you will not be able to make it?" "June 15th is Serena's birthday weekend. Bryce is throwing her an early party on the 15th since it works better for their schedules. We cannot miss our daughter's birthday celebration." "Mom, her birthday is the 17th. And I am getting married on the 15th. Sweetheart, your sister only has one birthday a year. You could have picked a different date." I stared at my reflection. A woman in a wedding dress. Phone pressed to her ear. World collapsing in slow motion. "You are choosing Serena's birthday party over my wedding? Do not be dramatic. You know how important these milestones are for her. Bryce's colleagues will be there. It is networking. I am your daughter, too, Mom." "Of course you are. But Serena needs us more right now. You have always been so independent, Elara. You will be fine." 47 seconds. That is how long the call lasted. I checked afterward. 47 seconds to dismantle 32 years of desperate hoping. "I understand," I said quietly. "Goodbye, Mom." I hung up. The consultant asked if I was all right. I looked at my reflection one more time. A bride with no family to witness her vows. And something inside me shifted permanently. I did not cry in the bridal shop. I finished my fitting, paid the balance, and walked out into the sunshine like nothing had happened. Julian was waiting at home when I arrived. "How was the fitting?" he asked, then saw my face. "Elara, what is wrong?" I told him. Every word my mother had said. Every careful syllable that had carved another piece out of my heart. Julian did not rage or rant. He just crossed the room and held me. "What do you want to do?" he asked. "I do not know." I pulled back and looked at him. "Actually, that is not true. I do know." That night, after dinner, I sat at the kitchen table with my phone. The banking app glowed in the darkness. I navigated to the recurring transfers. $2,500 scheduled for the first of every month. Pay to Gerald and Diane Vance. 8 years. $247,500. I knew the exact number because Julian and I had tallied it months ago. More than enough for a down payment on a house. More than enough to build a life. And in return, not even their presence at my wedding. My finger hovered over the cancel button. "You do not have to decide tonight," Julian said softly from the doorway. "Yes, I do." I looked at him. "If I wait until morning, I will talk myself out of it. I will tell myself that maybe they will change their minds. That maybe I am overreacting. But I am not overreacting, am I?" "No," he said. "You are not." I pressed cancel. Then confirm. The screen refreshed. The recurring transfer disappeared, replaced by empty space. I did not send a text explaining my decision. I did not call to argue or justify. I simply stopped giving and waited to see if anyone would notice me for anything other than my money. They would notice, but not the way I hoped. On June 15th, I married the love of my life in the backyard of Walter and Miriam Cross's home. 87 guests gathered under a canopy of string lights and white roses. The weather was perfect. Clear skies, gentle breeze, the kind of day that felt designed for beginnings. Julian's colleagues sat next to my coworkers from the restaurant. Friends from high school mingled with regulars from Dawn's Sweet Bakery, which had been open for 3 months by then. From my side of the family, one person. Aunt Susan, my mother's younger sister. The black sheep who had been frozen out for refusing to lend my parents money years ago. She drove 4 hours to be there. "I would not have missed this for the world," she said, hugging me tight. "Grandma Rose would have been so proud of you." Miriam helped me into my dress. She did not try to replace my mother. She simply stepped into the gap with grace and warmth, adjusting my veil, dabbing at the tears that kept threatening to fall. "You are not losing anything today," she whispered. "You are gaining everything you deserve." Walter walked me down the aisle. He had offered the day before, quietly and without pressure. "Only if you want me to," he had said. "No obligation." But when I took his arm and felt the steadiness of his presence, I knew I had made the right choice. I had baked my own wedding cake. Lemon lavender, Grandma Rose's recipe. It was not traditional, but nothing about this wedding was traditional. It was built from scratch by people who actually wanted to be there. That night, Julian and I danced under the stars. And I felt something I had not felt in years. Peace. The absence of my parents ached. But the presence of my chosen family filled spaces I had not known were empty. If you have ever been the only one not in the family photo, you know what I mean. Sometimes the people who show up are more family than blood ever was. If that resonates with you, leave a comment saying, "I understand." And if you are wondering what happened when my parents finally realized the money had stopped, subscribe and stick around, because that storm was just beginning to gather. 2 weeks after my honeymoon, my mother called. I was at the bakery frosting a 3-tier cake for an anniversary celebration when her name lit up my screen. I almost did not answer, but curiosity, or maybe masochism, got the better of me. "Elara, there must be some mistake with your bank." Her voice was clipped, annoyed. "The transfer did not come through this month." "There is no mistake, Mom." "What do you mean?" "I mean, I stopped the transfers. I am not sending money anymore." Silence. I could picture her standing in her kitchen, phone pressed to her ear, brain struggling to process the impossible. "You stopped? You cannot just stop. We depend on that money. Your father and I have bills." "I know you have bills. I have been paying them for 8 years. "Exactly. So, you understand how important." I understand that you chose Serena's birthday party over my wedding. I understand that after $247,000, I could not even get you to show up for one afternoon. More silence. Then, quietly, dangerously, so this is revenge. You are punishing us. No, Mom. This is me finally taking care of my own family. Julian and I are building a life together. I am running a business. I cannot keep subsidizing a family that treats me like an ATM with a heartbeat. How dare you? I am not asking for permission. I am informing you of a change. Elara Vance, if you do this, you will regret it. Family is forever. When you need us, we will not be there for you. I almost laughed. When had they ever been there for me? Goodbye, Mom. I hung up and returned to my frosting. My hands were shaking, but my heart was steady. She had said I would regret it. 6 months later, she would be the one learning about regret. The guilt trip campaign started within 48 hours. First came my father's call. The first time he had voluntarily dialed my number in years. Elara. Honey, your mother has been crying for 2 days straight. She cannot eat, cannot sleep. You are breaking her heart. She broke mine first, Dad. That is not the same thing. We are your parents. We sacrificed so much to raise you girls. Did you sacrifice Dad? Or did I? He did not have an answer for that. Then came Serena's texts, rapid fire and furious. Mom told me what you did. How could you be so cruel? They literally raised you, and this is how you repay them? You are being incredibly selfish. Some of us do not make as much money as you. I did not respond to any of them. The only voice of sanity came from Aunt Susan, who called one evening while I was closing up the bakery. Your mother phoned me asking for money, she said dryly. First time she has spoken to me in 5 years. I told her what I told her back then. Not my problem. Did she say anything about me? Oh, plenty. According to her, you have become heartless and ungrateful. She also mentioned you abandoned the family in their hour of need. Susan paused. Elara, do you know what your mother did to your grandmother? Exact same thing. Bled her dry until there was nothing left. Then blamed her for not having more to give. The pattern. It had been right in front of me my entire life. That night, lying next to Julian in bed, I stared at the ceiling and wondered if I was doing the right thing. Am I being cruel? I whispered. No, he said. You are being free. But freedom, I was learning, came with its own weight. The doubts came in waves. Usually at 3 in the morning. I would wake up in the darkness, heart pounding, the same questions cycling through my mind. Am I a bad daughter? Am I as selfish as they say? Will I regret this forever? One night, I slipped out of bed and sat on the kitchen floor, knees pulled to my chest, phone in hand. My finger hovered over my mother's contact. One call. One apology. Everything could go back to normal. But what was normal? Normal was giving until I had nothing left. Normal was being invisible except when they needed something. Normal was a one-way door that only opened when money flowed through. Julian found me there at dawn. Come back to bed, he said gently, sitting down beside me on the cold tile. I keep thinking I should just fix it. Send the money again. Make them happy. Would that make you happy? The question hung in the air. I did not have to answer. That Sunday, we had dinner at Walter and Miriam's. I barely touched my food, pushing pot roast around my plate while conversation flowed around me. After dinner, Miriam caught my hand. You are carrying something heavy, sweetheart. I can see it. I am fine, Miriam. You are allowed to not be fine. She squeezed my fingers. And you are allowed to protect yourself from people who hurt you, even if they share your blood. Loving yourself is not selfish. It is survival. Walter cleared his throat from the doorway. I saw your bank statements, Elara. Months ago, when we were doing the bakery taxes. He met my eyes. $247,000. You gave them everything. And they did not even come to your wedding. He stepped closer. You did not fail them. They failed you. For the first time in weeks, I felt the knot in my chest loosen. I was not a bad daughter. I was a daughter who had finally stopped paying for love that was never for sale. 8 months passed, and life began to bloom. Dawn's Sweet Bakery had found its footing. A local food blogger discovered us in March and wrote a glowing review. A hidden gem tucked away on Division Street. Orders doubled, then tripled. I hired 2 part-time employees. Mia, a culinary school graduate, and Devin, a single father looking for flexible hours. The bakery was becoming what I had always dreamed it could be. A place where people came not just for cinnamon rolls and lavender shortbread, but for warmth. Regulars knew each other's names. Birthday cakes were ordered months in advance. We had started a tradition of giving free cookies to kids who came in after school. And then, in April, I peed on a stick and saw 2 pink lines. Pregnant. Julian and I stood in our tiny bathroom staring at the test like it might change its mind. Then he lifted me off my feet and spun me around, both of us laughing and crying at the same time. "We're having a baby," he kept saying. "We're having a baby." Miriam wept when we told her. Walter made terrible jokes about teaching the baby to negotiate real estate deals. For the first time in my life, I understood what it meant to be celebrated. Not for what I could give, but simply for existing. My parents remained silent. After months of ignored texts and unanswered calls, they had stopped trying to reach me. I assumed they had found some other solution to their money problems. Or that Serena had stepped up for once. I was wrong. Elara, Aunt Susan said during one of our regular calls, "You should know something. Your mother has been asking around the family for loans." Apparently, Serena made some bad investments. Very bad. The other shoe was about to drop. I just did not know it would fall directly into my bakery. The full story came out in pieces. According to Aunt Susan, who had gathered intelligence from various relatives, Serena had convinced my parents to invest their savings in a guaranteed opportunity that Bryce had discovered. Some combination of cryptocurrency and multi-level marketing that promised incredible returns. $80,000. Gone in 3 months. Bryce's cousin ran the whole thing, Susan explained over the phone. Turned out to be a Ponzi scheme. The cousin disappeared to Mexico. Bryce and Serena are getting divorced. I sank onto the bench outside my bakery, phone pressed to my ear. "And your parents?" "They used the money you had been sending as a safety net for years. Without it, they do not have enough to cover the mortgage. They are 3 months behind. The bank sent a notice." I should have felt vindicated. I should have felt that warm rush of satisfaction that comes when people who hurt you face consequences. Instead, I just felt tired. "They're going to lose the house," I said. "Maybe. Unless they find someone to bail them out." A text notification buzzed. I glanced at the screen. Serena's name appeared for the first time in months. "Hey sis, can we talk? I know we have not been close, but family is family, right? We should catch up. Maybe grab coffee." I stared at the message. After 8 months of silence. After skipping my wedding. After years of treating me like the family servant. Family is family. I typed a reply. "I am busy with the bakery. What do you need?" The response came instantly. Nothing specific. Just wanted to reconnect. "By the way, Mom mentioned you are doing really well with the business. That is so great. We should celebrate. Maybe you could help us figure out some financial stuff, too." There it was. The ask, dressed up in casual clothes. I did not reply, but I started preparing for what I knew was coming. That weekend, I spread 8 years across my kitchen table. Bank statements printed and organized by year. The spreadsheet Julian and I had built together, now complete with every transfer, every emergency, every dollar that had flowed from my account to my parents. Transaction dates highlighted in yellow. Running totals in bold. $247,500. "What are you doing?" Julian asked, setting 2 cups of coffee on the table. "Making sure I know exactly what happened." I shuffled through the pages. If they come asking for money, when they come asking, I want the facts in front of me. Not emotions. Facts. You think they will actually show up? I know they will. They have exhausted everyone else. I am the last option. He sat down beside me, studying the documents. "And what will you say?" "I do not know yet, but I will not let them twist this. I will not let them make me the villain in a story where I gave everything and got nothing back." On the corner of the table sat another piece of paper. The ultrasound image from my 12-week appointment. Our baby, the size of a lime. Heartbeat strong and steady. I picked it up, holding it beside the bank statements. "This is what I am protecting now," I said softly. This baby will never have to buy their grandmother's love. They will never be compared to a cousin or told their dreams are not worth investing in. They will know from day one that they are enough. Exactly as they are. Julian covered my hand with his. Whatever happens, he said, we face it together. I nodded, gathering the documents into a neat folder. The confrontation was coming. I could feel it building like a storm on the horizon. But this time, I would not be defenseless. This time, the truth would speak for me. The one-year anniversary celebration of Dawn's Sweet Bakery fell on a Saturday in late October. I had planned it for months. A proper grand opening, the kind I could not afford when I first started. We decorated the shop with autumn leaves and golden lights. The display cases overflowed with seasonal treats. Pumpkin spice cinnamon rolls, maple pecan tarts, apple cider donuts. A reporter from the city's lifestyle magazine had confirmed she would stop by for a feature on local women-owned businesses. By noon, the bakery was buzzing. Regulars filled the cafe tables. Walter and Miriam arrived with flowers and champagne. Julian moved through the crowd, shaking hands, making everyone feel welcome. I was behind the counter boxing up a custom cake when the bell above the door chimed. I looked up. My mother walked in first, wearing a dress I had never seen. Probably purchased before their financial troubles. Behind her came my father, hands in his pockets, eyes scanning the room nervously. And behind them both Serena. Thinner than I remembered. Makeup not quite concealing the dark circles under her eyes. No one was smiling. The chatter in the bakery quieted. Something in the air shifted. That instinctive awareness when conflict enters a space. My mother spotted me behind the counter. She straightened her shoulders and walked directly toward me, weaving between customers like they were not even there. Elara. Her voice carried across the shop. We need to talk about family. Miriam, standing near the pastry case, moved closer to me. Walter set down his champagne flute. Julian appeared at my elbow. This is not really the time, Mom. When is the time? You will not answer our calls. You will not reply to messages. She gestured around the bakery. But you have time for all of this. Every eye in the room was on us now. I took a breath. Okay, Mom. Let us talk about family. My mother had never learned the art of reading a room. You abandoned us. Her voice rang through the bakery, sharp enough to cut glass. Your own parents. Your own family. And you just cut us off without warning. Without any consideration for what we have done for you. I felt Julian's hand on my back. Steady. Grounding. Behind my mother, I saw a regular customer, Mrs. Patterson, set down her coffee cup with a concerned frown. Mom, this really is not. Do you have any idea what we are going through? My mother continued, undeterred. Your father has not slept in weeks. We might lose our home. And you are here throwing parties and acting like we do not exist. Serena stepped forward, playing her supporting role. She is right, Elara. You have this successful business, and you cannot even help your own mother. What kind of daughter does that? I noticed the magazine reporter had taken out her phone. Recording? Taking notes? I could not tell. What kind of daughter? I repeated quietly. That is a good question, Serena. Let me show you what kind. My father finally spoke, his voice soft and pleading. Elara, sweetheart, let us not make a scene. Just come home. Talk to us privately. We can work this out like a family. A family? Something in me snapped. Not violently, but cleanly, like a knot finally pulling free. Is that what we are? I reached below the counter where I had stored the folder this morning. Part of me had known. Part of me had been waiting. You came here to ask for money, I said, setting the folder on the counter. You came in front of all these people, hoping to shame me into writing a check. So let us do this properly, Mom. Let us talk about what this family has really looked like for the past 8 years. I opened the folder. These are bank statements, I said, spreading the pages across the counter. 8 years of transfers from my account to yours. Would you like to know the total, Mom? $247,500. The number hung in the air like smoke. My mother's face went pale. Serena's mouth fell open. My father stared at the documents like they might burst into flames. Every month, I continued, keeping my voice level. I sent you $2,500. Sometimes more when there was an emergency. Serena's wedding? $10,000 from my savings. Dad's surgery? $8,000, which I later learned was actually for a golf trip. The burst pipe last year? Serena's spa weekend. I pointed to a specific page. This is June 15th. My wedding day. Notice anything special? No transfer from you. No gift. No card. You did not even show up because you were at Serena's birthday party. A party that was not even on her actual birthday. Mrs. Patterson gasped. The reporter's phone was definitely recording now. $247,000, I said. And I could not buy her presents for one afternoon. I closed the folder. So no, Mom. I am not abandoning the family. The family abandoned me a long time ago. I just finally noticed. Serena sputtered. That is, you are making this about money when it is about love. Is it? I asked. Then tell me, Serena, when was the last time you called me just to talk? Not to ask for something. Just to see how I was doing. Silence. I will wait. More silence. I placed my hand on my stomach. Still flat, but holding everything that mattered. I am pregnant, I said. And my child will never have to wonder if their grandmother loves them, because they will have one who does. She is standing right there. I looked at Miriam. She was crying. Elara, you cannot do this. My mother's voice cracked, not from sadness, I realized, but from the humiliation of being exposed. She glanced at the watching customers, at the reporter, at the undeniable evidence spread across the counter. People are watching. You are embarrassing us. No, Mom. You embarrassed yourself the day you chose a birthday party over your daughter's wedding. I am just uncovering the truth for you. I gathered the bank statements and returned them to the folder. My hands were not shaking. My voice was not trembling. For the first time in my life, I felt completely, utterly solid. Here is what is going to happen, I said. You are going to leave my bakery. You are going to stop calling, stop texting, stop showing up at my business demanding money. And I am going to continue living my life with my husband, my in-laws, and my baby. Your baby? My mother's eyes dropped to my stomach. You are having a baby and you are not even going to tell us? Why would I? So you could ask how much it would affect my income. Serena's face twisted. This is insane. You are cutting us off completely over some old grudge. It is not a grudge, Serena. It is a boundary. My father stepped forward, finally. Elara, please. I know we have made mistakes. Mistakes? I looked at him, really looked. Mistakes are forgetting a birthday. Mistakes are missing a phone call. Choosing not to attend your daughter's wedding is not a mistake, Dad. It is a choice. And so is what I am doing now. Miriam moved to stand beside me. Walter positioned himself at my other side. Julian's hand found mine. My family. My real family. This bakery is called Dawn Sweet, I said quietly. Do you know why? Because my grandmother, the one you ignored until she had nothing left, she told me I could create something sweet in a world that is often bitter. That is what I am doing. Without you. I nodded toward the door. Please leave. The room held its breath. If this moment resonates with you, if you have ever had to choose your peace over someone else's expectations, comment the word respect. And if you want to know what happened after they walked out that door, stay with me. We are almost at the end. For a moment, nobody moved. My mother's face cycled through emotions like a slot machine. Shock, then anger, then something that might have been shame if she were capable of feeling it. Serena had tears streaming down her cheeks, though whether from genuine hurt or wounded pride, I could not tell. And then a voice cut through the silence. Excuse me, Mrs. Patterson, 63 years old, retired school teacher, regular customer since day one. She rose from her table. I have been coming to this bakery every Saturday for a year, she said, addressing my mother directly. Elara remembers my husband's name. She asks about his treatments. She saves his favorite muffin even when it sells out. Last month, when I could not afford a birthday cake for my grandson, she made one anyway and would not let me pay. She pointed at the folder of bank statements. That woman gave you $250,000, and you could not show up to her wedding. Mrs. Patterson's voice shook with indignation. You should be ashamed. A murmur rippled through the bakery. Heads nodding. Someone in the back muttered, unbelievable. My mother's composure crumbled. She grabbed my father's arm, dragging him toward the door. "Let us go, Gerald. We do not need to be humiliated by strangers." "You humiliated yourselves," Mrs. Patterson called after them. All she did was show the receipts. Serena hesitated, looking at me with something approaching confusion. Like she genuinely did not understand how we had arrived at this moment. Like she had never considered that actions had consequences. "Serena," I said quietly. "Goodbye." She turned and followed our parents out the door. The bell chimed. The door swung shut. And just like that, 32 years of trying to earn my family's love came to an end. Miriam wrapped her arms around me. Julian kissed my temple. Mrs. Patterson returned to her coffee with a satisfied nod. The celebration continued. The rest of the afternoon passed in a strange, peaceful blur. The magazine reporter approached me after my family left, notepad in hand. "I came to write about women entrepreneurs," she said carefully. "But that was something else. Do you want me to leave it out?" I considered the question. Part of me wanted to hide, to keep the ugliness private. But another part, the part that had spent 32 years being invisible, was tired of staying small. "Write what you saw," I said. "But this story is not about revenge. It is about building something worth protecting." She nodded, scribbled something down, and ordered a box of cinnamon rolls. By evening, the crowd had thinned. Julian swept the floors while I wiped down tables. Walter and Miriam insisted on washing dishes despite my protests. "Let us help," Miriam said firmly. "That is what family does." I paused, rag in hand, watching them work together in my kitchen. Walter told terrible jokes. Miriam pretended to be annoyed. Julian laughed at both of them. This was my family now. Not by blood, but by choice. By showing up. Later, locking up for the night, Julian pulled me close under the string lights we had hung that morning. "How do you feel?" I thought about it. The confrontation. The bank statements. The public spectacle. I searched for the right word. Light. Like I have been carrying something heavy for so long, I forgot what it felt like to stand up straight. You did not win, you know. There is no trophy for this. I know. I looked at my bakery. The warm lights. The display cases. The hand-painted sign. But I did not lose either. I just finally stopped playing a game I could never win. He kissed my forehead. "Ready to go home?" "Yeah." I smiled. "I really am." In the 3 months that followed, I watched from a distance as consequences unfolded. Aunt Susan kept me updated despite my protests that I did not need to know. "Your parents sold the house," she reported in December. "Got less than market value because they were desperate. They are renting a 2-bedroom apartment in the suburbs now." I felt something when she told me. Not satisfaction, exactly. But not grief either. More like the dull recognition of inevitability. What about Serena? Bryce is gone. Moved to another city with some woman he met online. The divorce is nasty. She is living with your parents now. All 3 of them crammed into that apartment. I imagined it. My mother, who had spent decades cultivating an image of suburban success, now sharing walls with strangers, listening to arguments through the floor. My sister, the golden child, reduced to sleeping in her childhood twin bed again. Your mom tried to email you, by the way. Something about reconciliation. I had seen the email. 3 pages of carefully worded blame. How I had misinterpreted their love. How every family has struggles. How holding grudges only hurts yourself. No apology. No acknowledgement of what they had done. Just reframing the narrative to make me the villain again. I had forwarded the email to a lawyer Julian recommended. Not to sue. Just to document, in case they ever tried anything more aggressive. What should I tell her? Aunt Susan asked. If she asks about you. I thought about it. Tell her I am happy. Tell her I am building a life with people who show up. And if she asks for money. I almost laughed. Tell her the ATM is permanently closed. That Christmas, Julian and I hosted dinner for 10. The Crosses, Aunt Susan, coworkers from the bakery, friends who had become family. We laughed and ate too much and did not talk about the people who were not there. Some absences are losses. Others are just space to breathe. On a warm evening in late May, I stood in the kitchen of Dawn's Sweet Bakery, feeding my daughter, Lily June Cross, 7 weeks old. Her father's brown eyes and, I like to imagine, my grandmother's stubborn chin. She had arrived on a rainy April morning, and from the moment I held her, I understood something I had been chasing my entire life. This warmth in my arms. This tiny human who needed nothing from me except presence. This was what love felt like. Miriam had been there for the birth, holding my hand when Julian stepped out to update the family. Walter paced the waiting room, practicing grandpa jokes. When Lily finally arrived, both of them cried harder than I did. "She is perfect," Miriam whispered, touching Lily's cheek with trembling fingers. "She is absolutely perfect." I thought about calling my mother. The instinct was still there, buried deep. That little girl who just wanted her mom to care. But then I looked at Miriam, at Walter, at the circle of people who had chosen us. And the urge faded. The bakery had expanded. The magazine feature had brought an avalanche of new customers, and I had hired 2 more employees to keep up with demand. We had started selling online, shipping Grandma Rose's cinnamon rolls across the country. Everything I had ever wanted was right here. Not given to me, but built. Brick by brick. Batch by batch. One night, rocking Lily to sleep in our living room, I made her a silent promise. "You will never wonder if your mother loves you. You will never feel like a burden. Your worth will never be measured in dollars transferred or favors owed. You will be celebrated for existing. Nothing more. Nothing less." She yawned, tiny fists uncurling, and drifted off against my chest. Outside, the sun set gold over the city. A new dawn indeed. Julian asked me once, in that quiet hour after Lily fell asleep, if I had any regrets. We were sitting on the back porch watching fireflies blink in the garden. The question caught me off guard, not because it was unexpected, but because I had to actually think about it. "I regret the time," I said finally. 8 years of hoping they would change. 8 years of sending money like offerings to gods who were never listening. But not the ending. No, not the ending. I had started therapy 3 months after the bakery confrontation. Something Julian gently encouraged and Miriam not so gently insisted upon. It helped, having a professional untangle the knots I had tied myself into. Understanding that my parents' behavior was not about me. That their inability to love me properly was their failure, not mine. One afternoon, I wrote a letter. Not to send. Just for myself. "Dear Elara, at 24, I know you are about to wire $3,000 to people who will not thank you. I know you believe this will earn you a seat at the table. It will not. Here is what I wish I could tell you. You are not obligated to purchase love that should be given freely. You are not selfish for having needs. And the family you are searching for is not the one you were born into. It is the one you will build. Start the bakery sooner. Trust Julian earlier. Cry less. Save more. But most importantly, forgive yourself for taking so long to understand what you deserved. The journey mattered, even the painful parts. Love, Elara at 33." I kept the letter in my desk drawer next to Lily's first ultrasound photo and the deed to Dawn's Sweet Bakery. Proof that endings can also be beginnings. That some losses are actually liberations. That home is not always where you came from. Sometimes it is where you decide to stay. The letter arrived on a Tuesday, 1 year after the bakery confrontation. No return address, but I recognized the handwriting immediately. My father's cramped cursive. The same script that had signed my childhood report cards without comment. I almost threw it away unopened. But something made me hesitate. "Elara, I know I do not deserve to write to you. Your mother does not know about this letter, and I would prefer it stay that way. I have been thinking about your wedding day. The one I missed. I have been thinking about it for a year now, actually. Replaying the moment your mother told us we were going to Serena's party instead. I should have said something. I should have gotten in the car and driven to you anyway. I did not. I have spent my whole life not saying something. Not doing something. Letting your mother make decisions because it was easier than fighting. I told myself I was keeping the peace. But I was really just a coward. I do not expect you to forgive me. I am not asking for money. We are managing, barely. And that is more than we deserve. I just wanted you to know I am proud of you. I always was. even if I never said it. I am proud of your bakery. I am proud of your husband. I am proud of the woman you have become, despite everything we did not give you. You deserved better parents. I am sorry you got us instead. Dad, I read the letter 3 times. Then I cried. Not from pain, but from something harder to name. Grief, maybe, for the relationship we never had. Relief that somewhere, in some small way, he finally saw me. Julian found me in the kitchen, letter in hand. Good news or bad? Neither. Just truth. Finally. I did not write back. Not yet. Maybe someday. For now, I tucked the letter in my desk drawer and went to check on Lily. Some doors stay closed. Others stay ajar. And that is okay, too. If I am being honest, and I have tried to be honest with you this whole time, I do not think my mother is evil. I think she is broken. She grew up poor. The daughter of immigrants who worked 3 jobs each and still could not afford heat in the winter. That kind of childhood leaves scars. She clawed her way into the middle class and spent the rest of her life terrified of sliding back. Serena, beautiful, charming, socially graceful, represented everything my mother wished she had been. I represented everything she was trying to escape. Plain, practical, hands always covered in flour. It was not about loving Serena more. It was about loving herself less and seeing me as a mirror she did not want to face. Does that excuse what she did? No. Does it explain it? Maybe. My father chose peace over justice, comfort over courage. He was not malicious, just weak. And weakness, in its own way, can wound as deeply as cruelty. I do not tell you this so you will pity them. I tell you because understanding is not the same as forgiving. And I think it is important to know the difference. So here is what I have learned, for whatever it is worth. Love with conditions is not love. It is commerce. Setting boundaries is not cruelty. It is survival. And the family you build can be just as real as the family you are born into. Sometimes realer. If you are someone's ATM. If you are always giving and never receiving. If you are standing in a wedding dress wondering why your parents are not there. Hear me. You are not broken. You are not selfish. You are just finally seeing clearly. Thank you for staying with me through this story. If it touched something in you, leave a heart in the comments. Or share your own experience if you are ready. Subscribe if you want to hear more stories like this one. And check the description for another video I think you will appreciate. Remember, dawn comes after darkness. Every single time.